everyone, it's Shelby here. Welcome back to A Little Literary Love. I'm glad you all are with me today. Today's video is going to be my end of August wrap up. We'll be talking about the books that I read in the latter half of August. I didn't read as many books as I did the first half of August, but I did read some really good ones. I didn't get as much in because I also took a trip to Kansas City to see family, so I have that vlog up. I'll talk about some of the books that I read in that vlog, and yeah, so we're just gonna right into it. But I am pretty happy too because like the most of the books that I read I actually own physical copies of, and I feel pretty accomplished because my goal, I'm trying to get through Simone's backlist before her newest release comes out, and I finished one of her series that I hadn't read before, and I'm just like, I feel really good, like that feeling when you're like you're getting stuff done and you're hitting your goals, and that's how I kind of feel right now, so I'm pretty happy about that. But like I said, we're gonna dive right in. This shouldn't be too long of a video since I don't have as many books to talk about, but the first one is going to be A Merry Little Meet Cute by Julie Murphy and Simone. This is the only book that I actually finished for that trip because I listened to this on audio and I very much enjoyed this. This is if you can't tell by the cover, this is a holiday rom-com by these two authors, where these two characters are they get roles in this, like as actors in this Hallmark like channel that does like cute little like movies and stories. Like it's basically Hallmark, but they can't actually say it's Hallmark. I think they call it the Hope Channel. But our female character is a porn star, B. She is a plus size porn star, which I loved, and she's just trying to go more mainstream because she wants to be an actress and do more things besides porn. And then our male main character, he is an ex-boy band member, and his band like broke up, and so he's basically just trying to find work, and he's also trying to repair his reputation because he was allegedly caught with this figure skater maybe having an orgy. So he's trying to repair his reputation, but he's also trying to take care of his family. His mom has, I think she has bipolar disorder, so he is trying to help her and try to afford like the medication that she needs to help with this. And then her sister is, or his sister, excuse me, is I think starting college, so he's just trying to financially try to support his family. So it's very cute. I very much enjoyed this. I thought this was very fun. I thought this was funny. There's many moments that I wanted to laugh out loud at this. It's very sexy. Our boy is very much a dirty talker, and I loved how crazy attracted he is to our heroine. Both of these people have crushes on each other, but neither one of them like knows that they know who they are. So like with the Hope Channel, it's supposed to be like wholesome, family oriented, so she is supposed to keep secret that she is a porn star, because if they know or they like find out or it gets out, then her contract will probably get nixed and she won't be able to work there. Nolan watches her and is a big fan of her, and then when she was a kid, like he was her like childhood crush when he was in the boy band. So I think that's really cute. There were some funny moments in here of they go to this like strip club, but it's a Christmas themed strip club, so the dancers at the strip club all have reindeer names, and I don't know, I found it hilarious. There's also Christmas themed or like flavored lube that they use, and it's hilarious. I really love this one. I ended up giving this 4 stars. I cannot wait to read. There's going to be a second book of this series that focuses on another ex-boy band member, like from his boy band, and I think they get roles like in another like acting for the Hope Channel, I think. So I'm super excited for that. I also need to read there's like a sequel little novella about 2 like side characters in here. So I need to read those because I did thoroughly enjoy this. And yeah. Oh, steam on this is high, of course. You can't read a Sierra Simone book without the steam being high. Like that's just how it is. That's what you're gonna get from her. Then I read Beneath the Burn, which is another book that I tried to get through when I was in KC, but I didn't get super far, but I did end up finishing it after when I got back home. So this is by Pam Godwin. This is a dark romance. This is a like rock star dark romance. And it starts off with, we have our rock star character. I don't remember if I wrote his name down. No, I don't think I wrote either of their names down. So our rock star guy, he is not that famous. He's just kind of like in his band, and they're kind of like an up and coming kind of band, and he has a lot of trauma. He doesn't let anybody touch him, but he is wanting to get a tattoo to cover his scars that he has on his back. And you don't really know yet what those scars are from. He just walks into this tattoo shop and he meets this woman, and she says yes to tattooing him for just a very short period of time. And when he does this, both of them have this like instant connection to each other. But then he leaves and goes back to LA, I think, and he can't stop thinking about her. And because of this brief encounter with her, he wants to try to turn his life around, because he was doing all kinds of drugs and sleeping around, and he wants to become a better man for her in hopes that he will be able to see her again. However, our tattoo artist also has lots of trauma going on, and the night that she tattoos him, later on, her ex, he's not really her ex, but this man that she has been on the run from because she was in a dark abusive relationship of sorts with him, finds her and captures her and kills her boyfriend. It starts off like, you know, immediately that this is a very, very dark romance. So she gets captured and things go on. Our male character discovers that she is missing, and this like guts him, and then he goes back to his old ways. So anyway, then 3 years later, they just by chance end up running back into each other again. And he's like, no, I'm not letting you go again. We're going to figure out how to move past this. So when they get back together, and this all happens within like the first like 100 pages of this book, so I'm not giving too much away. But so this book is very much a book about healing, because both of our characters have very, very deep-rooted traumas, very, very darkly deep-rooted traumas. So the two of them together are helping each other work through those traumas and move forward to a better place, all while dealing with our heroine's ex, who is still trying to find her because she was able to escape from him again. I gave this 4 stars. I did very much enjoy this. The beginning part was a little bit much for me because it is very dark. Like Pam Godwin, especially, a lot of her books are borderline some of the darkest books that I have read that I feel comfortable with reading. And sometimes even then, I'm not super comfortable with it. Especially with our heroine, when she gets recaptured, there's multiple chapters of her being with this guy, and she's basically like a forced slave for him, and multiple scenes of her being raped, her being assaulted outside of rape, like him hurting her, and it's a lot. But the reason I gave this 4 stars and why I really enjoyed it is when we get to our characters when they get back together, because it is very much, like I said, a healing book. There's BDSM in this, and they use BDSM as a form of healing. Our hero also makes lots of mistakes with her and does some stupid crap, but I loved him because he realizes when he makes these mistakes, and he apologizes to our heroine, and he tries to learn from these mistakes that he's making, and he truly wants to become a better person for her and a better partner and somebody that she just all around a better person. And I love that. So yes, 4 stars. Lots and lots and lots of trigger warnings. I've already mentioned the sexual assault and regular assault. There's also lots of violence because there's murders that happen. There is drug use as well because, like I said, a rock star person, he definitely he's trying to get clean when he sees her again, but he does have some relapses. So there is drug use. The sexual assault and the regular assault happens both on page in the present of when the story is happening, but there's also some past stuff for both of the characters that we kind of just get like snippets, or they kind of allude to, or just kind of talking about their past trauma they kind of talk about a little bit, but the past stuff you don't actually see, like it doesn't get portrayed like on page, but there is stuff that does. So just if you want to read this, just know that, like I said, again, it is a very, very dark book. Okay, then I read Angel's Blood by Nalini Singh. This is the first book in her Guild Hunter series, and this is a paranormal romance. I very much enjoyed this one. This is about Elena. She is a vampire hunter. She works for the Guild, and she is tasked, I guess, by the Archangel of, I believe they're in New York. I think it's New York. The Archangel of New York. His name is Raphael. And he wants her to actually try to hunt down a rogue Archangel. And she's like, I only hunt vampires. I'm a vampire hunter. What makes you think I would be able to hunt down an Archangel? Those are totally different skills. But yes, so he wants her to hunt down this rogue Archangel who is brutally murdering all these different people. So they start to work together, and then in working together, the Raphael and Elena start to form a little bit of a romance. So I give this 4 stars. I very much enjoyed this. This is exactly what I want when I'm reading like a paranormal romance or like an urban fantasy type romance. It has like these 2 characters working together to solve these crimes, and they start to fall in love. I love it. I also liked Elena's character. She's very feisty, and she can definitely hold her own against this very, very nearly all-powerful Archangel character. She doesn't take his crap. She makes it known that she is autonomous. She is her own person. She's going to do things how she wants. She's not just going to do things because he tells her to. And I think that makes him like more intrigued by her. So this does also end on a cliffhanger. So this is September now that I'm filming this, and I have already read the second book. So once we get to my September wrap up, I'll talk to you more about that, but it was pretty big. It was good. Steam on this is going to be more like medium, I would say. There is a little bit of steam, but not like a ton of steam, but it was very good. Then we get to Feast of Sparks by Sierra Simone. This is the second book in her Thorn Chapel series. I think I read the first one. When did I read the first one? Oh, I read the first one in my beginning of August wrap up, so I will leave like a link to that. But basically this book, like this series is a series about these 6 friends that are coming together at Thorn Chapel. They're trying to, the Lord of the Manor, Auden, is trying to renovate the house, and they come across these different things that their parents did when they were there, these like rituals that their parents did, and they want to reenact these rituals around these 4 main pagan holidays. So this one, we get more of Saint Sebastian's perspective. This friend group is very kinky with each other. They're all bisexual. And we have like main like groups of like romantic things going on. So our main one from the first one, Proserpina, she also goes by Poe, and she is in love with both Auden and Saint Sebastian. They have like a throuple thing going on. And then we have these 2 females, Rebecca and Delphine. I know it started with a D. Delphine. And then we have Beckett, who is a priest, and he's kind of like this lone character that also likes to do some stuff with them. So again, we get more perspective from Saint Sebastian in this one, and we get more perspective on Saint Sebastian and Auden specifically on their past, because they loved each other in the past, but then they are hurt by one another, and you find out what happens. We also find out that Beckett is like actually in love with Poe. So yeah, there's a lot of more stuff in this one. This one might be my least favorite of the series, because I'll get to the other books soon. I gave this 3.5 stars. I did really enjoy it. I loved most everything about this, but this kind of felt like it was more of a filler book. Normally, most of Sierra Simone's like stuff is like trilogies. So the fact that she wrote 4 books, I think she just kind of put this in there. To me, it felt like it was just to kind of get us to the next book. And I understand why she did 4, because she's trying to represent like the 4 like main pagan holidays that she's like putting in this book. But yeah, there's also, it really annoyed me because the reason why they like Saint Sebastian and Auden kind of like broke up and are mad at each other is definitely just miscommunication, which I absolutely hate. It's terrible. The esteem on this is very high, of course. There is kind of an orgy scene in here. Lots of different things. Oh, there's also kind of trigger warnings. I don't really know. It's hard to describe. Potential incest, which she has in one of her other books, or book series in New Camelot. So yeah, I'm not usually somebody that likes reading that, but just, I don't even know how to describe it. Just like, I don't want to put it out there because it kind of sort of is there, but it's also kind of not. It's hard to describe. You just need to read it to know. And yeah, also, this is not strictly contemporary. There are elements of magicalness in this, so also be aware of that. Anyway, moving on to the next one. Next one that I read is going to be The Demon Court by Emma Hamm. This is the first book in her 7 Deadly Demons series. This is a fantasy romance. This world, there are the 7 main demons that embody the 7 deadly sins. So in this one we have lust, and then we have Celine, who is this budding sorceress, and her mother has tasked her with going to lust and seducing him so that she can try to take over his kingdom and overthrow him and get his kingdom, basically. Yeah, so that's basically our premise of this book. I gave this one 3.5 stars. I wanted to like this more than I did. I did really like the world of this one, and because of that, I am probably going to continue on and read the next book of this series because I found it very fascinating. They're all on these like floating, like these huge floating islands, kind of. It's hard to describe, but it was very interesting. We get Greed in this one, which is going to be the main hero of the second book. And I found him to be hilarious, and I'm excited to kind of read more from him. but he does pop up in this one. My issues with this is that there's so many things that just felt kind of wishy-washy for me with what the author was writing, like especially like the heroine's motives and what she was wanting to do and how she felt about things kind of went back and forth, and I didn't really quite understand that. I also was very confused because she kept going back and forth on what lust actually is. Like one moment she'd say he's a demon, and then another moment she'd say that he's a spirit, and I just was very confused by the end on what definitively what he is. It was very confusing. I also was a little bit disappointed in this because this is supposed to be, I think Emma Hamm has said that like this is her first foray into steam. I guess I haven't read anything else from her, but I guess she doesn't actually write steam in her romances. So she started doing that in this series. And I was honestly expecting, like, it's advertised as like a very steamy book, and I was expecting it to be much steamier than it was, especially if we've got somebody that is actively supposed to be trying to seduce lust and the embodiment of lust. I'm expecting all kinds of sex, but we get like little snippets of them, like the tension here and there. But I was getting so frustrated because this had the bad habit of continuously to drag out the tension, I think, of them getting interrupted. Like multiple times. Them starting to get like, and then they get interrupted by something. And I just found that very frustrating. And because of that, like this book is pretty long too. I think it's like 500 pages, something like that. I think this could have been cut too, and I maybe would have liked it a little bit better. I just also felt like when we do finally get to the steam, it was pretty late in the game. I was just kind of disappointed by it. It was just kind of meh, honestly. So I don't know. I still gave it 3.5 stars because overall I did still enjoy it. And like I said, I am going to at some point read the second book of this series because I am still intrigued by it. But yes. Okay. Now back to Thornchapel. We get to the third book of the series, Harvest of Sighs, which this one we get more background and perspective from Delphine and Rebecca. And honestly, I wasn't sure. I did give this 4 stars. Mostly because of like the overall plot that's going on. Delphine and Rebecca aren't my favorite characters of the group, but I did appreciate getting more of their perspective in this. In this one, Saint Sebastian and Auden, their relationship has basically been torn apart, and they're not really being like a throuple with Poe anymore. And because of things that happen in Feast of Sparks. There's also a lot more mysterious and magical things that happen at the Thornchapel, like at the area that they're doing their like ritual stuff. They actually finally find out exactly what was going on with their parents. So because they go and are talking to their parents about it. But yes, I gave this 4 stars. Steam on this is high. I gave this 4 stars just because this book like was gut-wrenching. This hurt me because of all the different relationships. They're all kind of like somewhat in turmoil, and it's just like I felt for them so much, and I didn't know how Sierra Simone was going to fix everything and put everything to rights and get them all back together. And I just it was very good. And then immediately, the very last book that I read for August, the last book of Thornchapel, is going to be Door of Bruises. This one we finally get Auden's point of view in this one, and this is basically Auden. He is trying to do his duties as the lord of the manor, and he is trying to fix everything, and he is trying to keep his friend group and his love and everything from crumbling and keep it all together while also trying to figure out, because there's this door that has opened at Thornchapel and this very mysterious, they don't know what's going on, but they've been told it's bad and that they need to close it. So they're trying to figure out how to close it in a way that doesn't hurt anybody, but they need, like, time is kind of running out because there's also this mysterious illness that is starting to spread throughout the town, and they think it might stem from this door that has opened. I give this 5 stars just because, again, this book was gut-wrenching and it was heartbreaking, and I was sobbing by the end of this because it hurt my heart so much. And I know, like, that sounds bad. Like, usually, like, if something hurts, like, you don't want that. But I loved how much Sierra plays with my emotions. And the ending, I'm still not quite sure if I 100% liked the ending, but I'm still giving it 5 stars because I know it's an ending in this entire series and as a whole is one that I'm not going to be able to stop thinking about. And because of that, I feel like it deserves 5 stars. Just if I'm going to keep thinking about it and not be able to let it go, it deserves all the stars in the world. There is, if you do choose to read this, just know there is an HEA. You're just going to have to suffer for it. And it is going to be a bit of a non-traditional HEA. Like, even just now thinking about it, I want to, like, start crying, honestly. Like, that's just how, like, hung up I am on what happened in this. And like I said, there is more, like, magical elements in here. I don't know if I would quite call this a fantasy. It's almost more like that, what is it called, like magical realism? I don't even know, like, how to describe it, but there is elements of magical, fantastical stuff in here, and I don't know, it's still, like, the ending, like, it still left me wanting a little bit more, so I'm curious to see if we are going to get anything else from this. Because if you haven't read Sierra Simone before, if you haven't read anything in her, like, world, like, different characters will pop up or, like, be mentioned in her other books and her other series. So yes, I don't know, it ended, and I'm happy with how it ended, but I'm also not. I still, like, want more, and I don't even know how to describe it. I'm probably not doing justice to this. It's so good. Yeah, I'm gonna end it there because I don't really know what else to say about that book or how to describe it. But yes, Sierra Simone is my favorite author, and part of this, like, me just being like, is why. But anyway, so yeah, that's gonna be all the books that I read in the end half of August. Please make sure to hit the thumbs up button if you like this video, and subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. Leave a comment down below with some of your favorite books that you read in August. I love to hear from y'all. And yeah, I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.